Okay, picture this. The date is November 18th, 2025. You roll out of bed, grab your coffee, sit down at your computer, and nothing works. You try to fire up ChatGPT, it's dead. You jump over to X, also down. Canva, Claude, pretty much all the tools you rely on are just gone. For a couple of hours, it honestly felt like someone just switched off the internet. So what in the world happened?
Well, the first clues started to pop up where they always do, on forums like Reddit. People were realizing, hey, it's not just me, and one user just absolutely nailed it with this comment. Cloudflare just went offline globally, and it's taking half the internet with it. That one sentence just perfectly captured the pure chaos of the moment.
And the list of victims? I mean, it was staggering. We're talking about the absolute giants. ChatGPT, X, Claude, Canva, all just blinked out of existence at the same time. And the real irony, even Down Detector, the site we all rush to when we want to see if other sites are down, it was having problems too. This wasn't just a glitch, this was a massive, systemic failure.
And here's where the mystery really starts. All over the world, from New York to Dubai, everyone was seeing the exact same really confusing error message. Please unblock challenges.cloudflare.com to proceed. It kind of sounds like it's your fault, right? Like you need to fix something. But what does that even mean? And how could one little error bring a huge slice of the internet to its knees?
So let's dive into part one, an internet mystery. We're going to get to the bottom of that error.
And that investigation leads us straight to part two, Meet the Gatekeeper, a company you may have heard of called Cloudflare.
So what is Cloudflare, really? The easiest way to think about them is as the internet's digital bouncer. Seriously, they stand at the front door of millions and millions of websites, checking IDs, keeping out trouble, and making sure everything runs smoothly inside. They are the gatekeeper that decides who gets in and who gets told to beat it.
And let me tell you, that bouncer is extremely busy. Cloudflare's main gig is stopping all the bad bots out there from wrecking things. We're talking about everything from bots that scrape content from websites to ones that try to log in with stolen passwords, all the way up to massive DDoS attacks that try to flood a site with so much traffic it just collapses. They are the front line of defense for a huge chunk of the web.
Which brings us right back to that weird error message and into Section 3, the Cloudflare challenge. Because it turns out that simple-looking error has a hidden double meaning.
Okay, this right here is the absolute key to the entire mystery. That one error message can mean two totally opposite things. On the one hand, it can mean Cloudflare itself is broken. The bouncer accidentally locked the door and can't get back in. That's what caused the global outage. But, and this is the crazy part, that exact same message can also mean the system is working perfectly and it just caught a bad bot trying to sneak in.
Now, when you hear the word challenge, you probably think of those awful puzzles, right? Click all the squares with a traffic light. Yeah, we all hate those. Thankfully, Cloudflare has been moving to something called Turnstile. It's this super smart and visible check that happens in the background to prove you're a human without ever making you solve a single annoying puzzle.
So how does this invisible bouncer actually work? How does it tell the good guys from the bad? Well, that brings us to Section 4, a high-tech arsenal.
First up, they use something called TLS fingerprinting. Think of it like a secret digital handshake. When your browser connects to a website, the very specific way it does that handshake, the combination of security protocols it offers, creates a unique signature. A real Chrome browser has a totally different handshake from a simple bot, and Cloudflare can spot that difference in a split second.
Next, there are JavaScript challenges. This is pretty cool. Cloudflare basically gives your browser a little pop quiz, but it happens invisibly in the background. It'll ask it to do tiny tasks like render a weird shape or solve a simple math problem, just to prove it's a real, full-featured browser and not some cheap script that can't handle those kinds of commands.
So all this information gets crunched together to create a bot score. Every single person or bot that visits a site gets a score from 1 to 99. A really low score, say under 30? Yeah, that's probably a bot. A higher score? You're probably human. And website owners can use that score to decide what to do with you.
So you see, when you put it all together, it's this incredibly deep, multi-layered defense. It starts at the network level with that handshake, then it moves to your actual browser with those little tests, and it's even watching your behavior. It is a really, really tough fortress for bots to try and get through.
But tough doesn't mean impossible, because for every billion-dollar security system, there's a multi-million-dollar industry trying to break it. And that brings us to Section 5, the bot arms race.
And Cloudflare is getting really creative in this fight.
Get this, they've built something called the AI labyrinth. Instead of just blocking a suspicious bot, they lead it into a trap. They serve up this endless maze of fake AI-generated web pages. The bot wastes all its time and money crawling through total nonsense, and in the process, it gives away exactly what it is. It's like a brilliant modern-day honeypot.
But on the other side of this war, you've got these bypass services. It's almost shockingly simple. For just a few bucks, a developer can send a protected web address to a service like Senrose. That service does all the hard work in the background, solves whatever challenge Cloudflare throws at it, and then just hands back the clean data. It's basically a point-and-click way to defeat billions of dollars in security.
And this has turned into a fully professional industry. We're not talking about lone hackers anymore. There are entire companies, professional challenge solvers, whose entire business model is built on defeating bot detection. It's this constant, high-stakes game of cat and mouse.
So let's zoom all the way out. What does this whole event really tell us? Well, it points to a really big and kind of scary reality about the internet today. Which brings us to our final section, the fragile web.
I want to go back to that Reddit thread one more time because another user just summed up the feeling perfectly. Everything feels weirdly fragile when one company hiccups and the entire web falls apart. That just captures the deep sense of vulnerability that so many of us felt that day.
And you know what? That feeling is 100% justified. This whole incident was a massive wake-up call. The internet was originally designed to be decentralized and super resilient. But today, huge parts of it run through just a tiny handful of companies like Cloudflare. We've created these single points of failure where one little hiccup can cause a global domino effect.
And that leaves us with a really tough question, doesn't it? On the one hand, we absolutely need these gatekeepers. We need them to protect us from the constant storm of malicious bots. But the more power and control we give them, the more fragile the whole system becomes. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, how do we find the right balance between security and resilience?